Hi, I'm Jen Flowers, and I'm the Deputy Editor of AFAR Media here on the floor of We Are Africa conference this year, here with some of our experts. We're going to be talking about trends and destinations and the future of travel in Africa with people who are really helping to shape the industry's development. So I'd like you all to introduce yourselves and tell me a little bit about where you're based and the companies that you're coming from.
I'm Anna Leidenkrantz. I'm the owner of Stars of Africa. It's a little niche company based in Sweden with sole focus on southern and eastern Africa.
I'm Nick Crane. I'm based in Ethiopia. I have Simien Lodge. It's the highest hotel in Africa. We're at 3,260 meters up in the Simien Mountains.
My name is Puri. I have a company called Nira Hotels and Resorts, and we have a hotel in Mauritius, Shanti Maurice, and in addition to that, a couple of ski resorts and a couple of hotels and cities.
Great. Well, thanks so much for being here. Now, I'm sure you'll agree that we've seen a trend toward the unexpected, the undiscovered, and the sort of element of surprise in travel in the past few years. And with Africa still largely untouched, we we have quite a bit of an advantage in this territory. I'd love to have each of you tell us what are the lesser traveled destinations on the continent, and what are you most excited to showcase now? Anna?
If by destination you mean a country, I would have to say Namibia. It has the element of surprise. It has the element of untouchedness. It's the vast wilderness, the contrast between the oldest sand dunes in this world, the oceans, the mountains, and the desert-adapted animals that don't even just survive, they thrive in this rugged landscape. On a broader scale, I would probably say the cities of Africa, in the sense that I always encourage clients that whether they're going on a safari or on a beach holiday, to stop in the cities, meet the people, and get the vibe of contemporary Africa as well. So that would be my response to what I would encourage.
Well, I agree with you, Anna. I mean, just taking the country where I'm working, Ethiopia, only 10%, I would say, of the total number of people coming into the country are vacation tourists. By far, the majority are Ethiopian Americans who are coming home to visit their friends and family. But where we are up in the Simien Mountains, we're getting a lot of people now, and it's become quite an interesting, different destination. People are looking for a different place to travel to. We never get the first timers. It's the people who are coming to Africa for the second time who want to come to a country like Ethiopia. They've been to South Africa or Kenya, and now they're looking for a different destination. And Ethiopia can offer that.
Keen photographers, I should imagine, would be an emerging market for you.
Absolutely, yeah.
And Puri, what destination would you share?
Actually, it's interesting. The two destinations I wanted to speak about also are similar to what Anna and Nick have mentioned, because I think that, to me, Namibia is still beautiful. You can do some of the safaris there and so on, but the Skeleton Coast is amazing. And so, if I had the opportunity, and then the authenticity of being able to go and sit with the people in the Himba tribe, and chat with them, or to be able to. And the same about Ethiopia. I don't think there's a lot of travel to Ethiopia yet. There should be a lot more. And that's another place that I think is undiscovered. And then islands off of Zanzibar, like the island of Pemba, which I think is beautiful. And I think there's several places that around the east coast that are interesting. On the west coast, I think you can go as far as Namibia, and after that you get a bit challenged. But
Well, thank you. Well, I'd love to chat a little bit more about your areas of expertise. Now, Nick, I'm going to start with you. So you operate in Ethiopia, and I think it's one of the less traveled areas as we were just discussing in the region. Tell us how you introduce destinations where tourism doesn't currently exist in a way that's sensitive to the community and to the environment.
Well, for me, I sort of came into it from a strange background. I worked for UNICEF many years ago, and I wanted to go back and get involved with Ethiopia in an area. It's probably the poorest country and poorest area of the world. So for me, it was essential. There was a massive cultural gap, if you like, between where I was coming from and where the people are. So I felt I had to involve the local community. So we did that from square one. We employed people who are local. In fact, all of our staff are all local. Well, that's fairly natural, I think you'd say, except that most of the people I got straight out of school, and I had to train them up from day one. we involve the local community with everything we do up there, and I've seen that economy grow. And because it's come from such a poor base, we're able to see how the local towns have expanded as a result of tourism. We've increased tourism up there by 500%, and with that yeah, it's amazing. I mean, we had 5,000 trekkers initially when we started, and now we now have 25,000 people, of which 8,000 are staying in the lodge. And I know it's all because of the promotion that the lodge has done. But right from the beginning, we got the local people involved, and we encourage tourists to help finance things like school benches, or we've had an oven program for putting into houses so that people consume less wood. We provided a bus for the local community, but all that community involvement is important. And it doesn't cost any more. This is the point I want to make. It doesn't cost any more to involve the local community. In fact, there's a tremendous marketing benefit by actually involving the community rather than creating a fortress situation.
Well, thank you for that insight. Puri, I'd like to ask you, a lot of people think of Africa as the place for safaris, but it's also made up of cities and coasts, and it's a very diverse destination if you think about the continent in general. So tell me what story of Africa you offer with your lodge, with your place.
Well, Mauritius happens to be in Africa, or the African continent. So what we've tried to do there is to be able to offer a local Mauritian experience. So whilst the accommodations are very comfortable and very nice, all the dining experiences that we have, for instance, we've got one which is La Case Mama, where you sit in the vegetable garden under a pergola, and grandma from the neighboring village comes and cooks you a Mauritian feast. Or we've created a rum shed, an authentic rum shed, where you sit and taste rum cocktails and rums, and the guitar player is from the next village who's playing the guitar and telling you stories. Or we've got a fish shack where you sit right on the beach and eat freshly caught fish and drink local beer and eat local fruits and vegetables. So that's all part of being able to give them that real experience. And exactly what Nick was saying earlier, I think that the traveler today is much more informed and is much more passionate about experiencing what they've gone there for, as opposed to going and staying in a world-class hotel and never really feel the destination. But there's a lot of that stuff in my mind in Madagascar that one can still do and discover. And I mean, personally, I think this decade belongs to Africa, and so that we'll see a lot more of people coming to Africa and discovering that yes, there is a lot more than just the safaris.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. Now, Anna, how is Africa evolving better to meet the needs of international travelers? Do you think that travel brands and buyers recognize that there's a certain need to meet travelers from unfamiliar markets halfway?
I would challenge that question actually and say that I think that Africa has it all in place. I don't think there's a need to meet anywhere halfway, in that as we've been presented at We Are Africa, when we've been attending the conference and all the meeters with all the exhibitors from all kinds of countries, you see the many faces of Africa, and part of that is the contemporary Africa. It's the internationally acclaimed artists, designers, the museums, the galleries, the fashion coming out of Africa. It's all in place, and We Are Africa provides us, I believe, with the stories to go home and communicate and tell, without losing touch with traditional Africa, without losing touch with the heritage, with the history, with the people of Africa, but providing that what the internationally acclaimed discerning traveler really are looking for is an element of, as we were discussing previously, a surprise, of authenticity, and it's all for us to tell that story, and it's not one story, and that's why it's so wonderful to meet people from all these destinations that all have a story to be told, and bring that home and communicate that to our emerging markets. So I don't think there is a need for Africa to meet the international traveler halfway. It's not one story to be told, but there's lots of stories to be told, and we have a great job to do, and I'm very proud and thankful to be part of We Are Africa, in the sense that it gives me and provides me with the tools and the stories needing to be told. So thank you.
Anna, thank you. That's wonderful perspective. And as Puri said, I think this really feels like the decade of Africa. And thank you all for your thoughts, sharing your thoughts, and thank you for watching. And we'd love to hear your thoughts too. So please comment using social media and hashtag #NotOneStory.